Let not the happenings of the world sadden you. Let not the happenings of the world sadden you. I swear by my life, nothing save that which profited them can befall my loved ones. Nothing save that which profited them can befall my loved ones. Nothing save that which profited them can befall my loved ones. Nothing save that which profited them can befall my loved ones. Is there any remover of difficulties save God? Is there any remover of difficulties save God? Say, praise be God. He is God. All are his servants, and all abide by his bidding. Nothing save that which profited them can befall my loved ones. Nothing save that which profited them can befall my loved one. This is Kayvon Gayola. I'm a licensed marriage family therapist, and also I'm a Baha'i, praying for years, to find the daughter of one of my beloved friends in Iran, Shiva Mahmoodi, who was executed in 1970s. I was not able to be there and always grieved that I did not have a chance to say goodbye to her. And I knew that Shiva had a daughter because I was in Iran when Maria, now Maria Mahmoodi, sitting in front of me. Maria was 5 years old when I got married in 1970 and left Iran. Revolution happened 79, and so I never have been back. Not only caused problem for myself and my family, but I would cause problem for everybody else that I would visit over there. So I just have stayed away. And so recent months, my prayer finally was answered. This was a long, long, long prayer. And somehow heard from Maria and learned that she's a very accomplished physician. She is a wonderful parent. She is a human rights activist, and she is absolutely determined to do something about the plight of those who have suffered the consequences of the violence, executions, and persecutions in Iran, especially the Baha'i community. And the reason I single out the Baha'i community, because of many unique features of this community. And one of them is when people feel wrong, one of the first things they might want to do is to retaliate. And the Baha'is, throughout the whole history of the faith, 200 years of it, never retaliated. In fact, the choice of being meek and the choice of being peaceful and leaving it to God is considered to be an active process of combating and dealing with the persecution, execution, trauma. What happened is the Baha'i prayers, a unique gift that I think is first in the history of religions of the world. The number of prayers that we have and the kind and type of prayers that we have. Now, as a psychotherapist, I am convinced, because I do a lot more cognitive behavioral therapy than other types, but also I do trauma therapy. But I am convinced what Abdul Baha, the son of Baha'u'llah, says in a book called Paris Talks, that our reality is our thoughts. Whichever way we think, that's who we are. These prayers, by the way, is what we go on our knees and we say them every day, depending on where we are and what kind of a healing is needed, or what kind of wind we need to be under our wings. Like a bird that we can fly free from our own Darth Vaders, basically. We all have both a Darth Vader and a Luke in us, no exception. But the prayers calls upon our Luke Skywalker self to come out and lift not only us, but all humanity, based on the principle of the oneness of all humanity. So the whole notion of power in the Baha'i teachings is not about political power or power of force or power of revenge or power of deceit or power of lie, because all of these things are what we use as a power. But the Baha'i teachings encourages us to turn to the power of prayer. Well, nothing is more difficult to fight for a child who is 14 or 15, that all of a sudden a government snatches their mother from them, and within a span of short time, they execute the parent. And nothing can calm and really bring into balance the onslaught of this kind of trauma. And here before us and before me and next to me, I have Maria, my 5-year-old friend, and now she's here. And in this interview, I would like her to share with us how, as a physician, as a young girl, as how the journey went, and what was the power of the prayer in her healing, in her recovery, in her treatment, in her rise, really from the ashes. So I would like to invite Dr. Mariam Mahmoodi to tell us.
Keivan, thank you so much for inviting me to your program and allowing me to share some of my thoughts and some of my personal experiences with you today and with the friends that are watching. As you know, I was very lucky to be born in a Baha'i family and have a mother like my mom. She instilled in me since I was a little girl the importance of prayers and meditation. I grew up with knowing and understanding how the prayers play a role in our life, in everything that we do. She taught me, in everything that you do, you pray. Before you make any decision, you pray. If you're anxious, you pray. If you have a friend that is sick, you pray for them. So since I was a little girl, she always encouraged me to pray and memorize prayers and recite them.
And chant them
Chant them. Yes, chant.
You have a beautiful voice. I know that part.
Thank you. So when the revolution happened and our lives completely changed when the revolution happened, as you know, the government of Iran started to persecute the Baha'is. There were um, arrests, there were executions, there were tortures. They burned Baha'i homes, they confiscated Baha'i properties. Many, many, many friends of ours were arrested and executed in a span of few years between 1979 and 1983. I was only 15 years old when my mom was arrested and executed after she was tortured, and the aftermath of being, you know, alone in so many ways, because when not only my mom was executed, but my grandfather, my dad's father, was executed. So this was and this happened within a span of 6 months. First, my grandfather was executed, and then my mom, and that was extremely difficult for my dad. So I basically had to grow up very fast, take care of my dad, take care of my brother, take care of myself the best way that I could. And I was only 15 years old. I really didn't know how to do any of that. So more than ever, I relied on what my mom taught me, to say prayers and rely on God and know that I am not alone. I have a creator that loves me, but it's my responsibility to connect to that creator through prayers and meditation, so that I can open the doors of connecting with our creator, and being able to not miss the signs of the guidance that are sent every day for all of us. There are signs of guidance in everything we do. It comes in a form. Our lives completely changed when the revolution happened. The government of Iran started to persecute the Baha'is. There were arrests, there were executions, there were tortures. They burned Baha'i homes, they confiscated Baha'i properties. Many, many, many friends of ours were arrested and executed in a span of few years between 1979 and 1983. I was only 15 years old when my mom was arrested and executed after she was tortured, and the aftermath of being, you know, alone in so many ways, because not only my mom was executed, but my grandfather, my dad's father, was executed. So, and this happened within a span of 6 months. First, my grandfather was executed, and then my mom, and that was extremely difficult for my dad. So I basically had to grow up very fast, take care of my dad, take care of my brother, take care of myself the best way that I could. And I was only 15 years old. I really didn't know how to do any of that. So more than ever, I relied on what my mom taught me, to say prayers and rely on God and know that I am not alone. I have a creator that loves me, but it's my responsibility to connect to that creator through prayers and meditation, so that I can open the doors of connecting with our creator and being able to not miss the signs of the guidance that are sent every day for all of us. There are signs of guidance in everything we do. It comes in the form of a stranger, or a book that we see, or a movie that we watch, all kinds of signs that our creator sends every day to guide us. But we have to be aware enough, we have to be conscious enough to be able to connect with these signs. And for me, prayers and meditation has been that tool and that venue that has always helped me to deal with the difficulties of life the best way I can put it. I mean, there were times that I really didn't know how to deal with difficulties of life. I was hopeless, I was helpless, I felt I was totally inadequate with what I was facing with. And I always remembered my mom that told me, go to your prayers, go to your prayers. And the beauty of the Baha'i prayers are there's so many of them. And for me, some of the prayers of the Bab spoke the most to me. And one of them was the prayer of protection that I would like to share with you today, especially in this day and time because of what's happening in Iran and Middle East. There's so much uncertainty right now in that part of the world, and so many innocent lives are in danger, and so many innocent people are getting arrested. And we have heard that there has been several executions. The future is very uncertain. I have been saying it as soon as all of these things started, more and more and more. I always say it, but I have been saying it several times a day because of calming myself and to pray for my family and the friends that are still in Iran for their protection.
Could you, Mario, say something about your mom before we moved into that prayer? And also just a little bit about the process or what happened and why was she arrested? And also about your battle with your own self. The way you became so close and intimate with the prayer, its metaphors, its allegories, because that's a very specific, powerful nature of Baha'i prayers, the allegories and the metaphors that plays a role with our mirror neurons, just imagining them.
My mom was the best way I can put it, she was a lover of Baha'u'llah. She loved the faith. She loved Baha'u'llah. Her whole life was about serving the faith and serving humanity. She was a very well-educated woman. She knew 4 different languages. She had a bachelor's degree in economics. And since she was 14 years old, she was very, very active in the Baha'i community, members of many, many different committees, national committees, local committees. And when the revolution happened, she became the member of the local spiritual assembly of the Baha'is of Tehran.
Can you say something about how people might become members? Do they campaign? Do they advertise for themselves? What happens?
So in the Baha'i faith, we don't have clergy. When there's more than 9 people in one city, the process of election starts. You have to have a minimum of 9 people. Once a year in April, there is an election, and the Baha'i election is quite different than other elections. There is no propaganda. Every member of the Baha'i community that is 18 and older is qualified to be on the assembly. The criteria for election is mu'mineye salimeye fa'ale, which means you need to be faithful, have a conscience and ethics, and you need to be active in the faith. Yes. So it's quite simple, but it's profound at the same time.
What principles guides a believer in the Baha'i faith? In other words, can they be competing with others? Can they be backbiting? Can they be slandering? Can they be arguing? Can they be hostile? What are the qualities that the Baha'i teachings requires from a person who's a believer?
That the Baha'i faith is a way of life. Now, none of us are perfect in the way we live life. It's a process that each person goes through, and every day we are taught to be a better person today than we were yesterday, and we are taught to bring ourselves into account every day at the end of the day. That is the simple process, is basically every decision that you make, every word that you use, every interaction that you have, you want to ask yourself, was this the best version of myself, or can I do this better? I look at it in a very simple way, that when you choose to be a Baha'i, you choose a way of life that is about growth. It is challenging. It's not easy, but life is challenging.
Tests are stumbling blocks or stepping stones as we make them, Abdul Baha says. But I would like to see no evil, hear no evil is one of the teachings of the faith in the hidden words of Baha'u'llah. In a world which is so basically full of evil, how in the world do we live that? And as a Baha'i in Iran, whose mother was snatched from her and within a span of short time executed with no trial, no justice, nothing, sheer the fact that she was a member of the Baha'i faith in Iran. So how would you even handle that teaching? See no evil, hear no evil, or many of other teachings that distinguishes the Baha'i teachings from other religions of the past, because there is the distinction. Otherwise, why would God send another religion, right?
And these are all my personal views. The center of the Baha'i faith, the center of everything is the heart. And there is so much references in the Baha'i writing about the heart, and sometimes it's talking about the spiritual heart, sometimes it's talking about the physical heart. But to me, as a physician, I have seen that the spiritual heart and the physical heart are very connected with each other. And we see that there is so much heart disease right now in the world. It's an epidemic of heart disease, and I personally believe that the reason for that is our lifestyle, the way we live. We are not attending to our heart. We're not attending to our physical heart. We're not attending to our spiritual heart. We have a lot of broken heart. The science have found out that people that believe in something higher than themselves, people that practice virtues, have much less chance of having heart disease than people that don't. People that are negative and very pessimistic are at much higher risk for heart disease.
Be not the sins of others. The Baha'i writing says, so long as thou art thyself a sinner, right?
Exactly. The center of the faith is the heart. And as a result of that, the center that we need to focus on is always look at ourselves. Be accountable to who we are, rather than constantly looking outside and see this person is doing that, that person is doing that, what's the wrong with that person. You believe that there is a better version of you, so let's focus on that better version of you. I was very careful to speak a language that is universal. Whether you believe in God or not believe in God, you understand who you are and why you're here. And going back to your first question about how did I personally dealt with all of the injustices that I was faced with at such a young age, again, I went back to what I learned as a child from the Baha'i writings and what my mom taught me. That was always be creative and figure out, with the limitations that you have, how you can make the best out of that situation. And that was how I tried. Now, was it easy? Absolutely not. I was really not equipped at age 15 to lose my mom and have to take care of my dad and my brother and myself. I was not, by any means. It was a very, very difficult journey. But I don't think I would even be alive if it wasn't because of the Baha'i writings and the prayers and what I learned as a child from my mom about life, which all was a reflection of her understanding of what she learned from the Baha'i writings. So,
Arjun, how long did it take you to come out of the tunnel of this journey?
I'm still working on it. Every day of life has its own challenges. So yeah, I think until we're alive, we're working on it. I can't say I don't think there is any end. The end would be the last day of our lives. I don't know. I mean, I think I have been struggling all my life. I'm not saying that struggles are over. It's just as time has gone by and I have practiced more and more what I learned from the Baha'i faith and what I learned from what my mom taught me and what I learned from life and learned from science of being a physician for 30 some odd years, I have got better and better and better in dealing with the difficulties of life. To answer your questions, it's a journey. It never ends. Every day, life brings something new that we have to figure out, okay, how do I do in this situation? And right now, what I'm facing is all of my friends and families that are in Iran, and I'm worried sick about their safety. And one of the reasons we're talking today about this prayer of protection is because of this current events that are happening in Iran. So I was telling you earlier that there are two prayers that are very dear to my heart. One, this particular prayer of protection by the Bab. We have many protection prayers by Baha'u'llah and the Bab, but this particular one is very dear to me. And I actually found this prayer when I had to escape from Iran when I was 18 years old through desert and came to Pakistan. When I was in Pakistan, there were a group of Baha'is from Arabic countries that came to visit us. You know, so House of Justice has asked them to come and visit the Baha'is. There were about 2,500 Baha'i refugees in Pakistan. So they came and they were holding classes for us and teaching us new prayers. And one of these individuals introduced the prayer of protection, which is in Arabic, and it's a prayer from the Bab. And since then, this prayer has been very, very dear to me. It is extremely powerful. Every time I felt like I can't do this anymore, God, I just can't do this. Why are you putting me in this situation? You always said that you don't ask us more than what we can bear, and I cannot bear this one. I would go to this prayer, and this prayer would calm me down, would center me, remind me that I'm not alone in this life, remind me that I have a creator that loves me, remind me that I have a creator that protects me no matter how difficult the situation is. And always after that, I am able to collect myself. And then all of a sudden, I was able to see the doors that opened up in those very grave situations and the guidance that was coming to me, but it was very hidden somehow. But unless I was calm and collected and I could deal with my own anxiety, I was not able to see those doors. I was not able to see those signs. And this prayer helped me to be calm enough to see those opportunities. I came to this country as a refugee. When I arrived here, I had nothing, but I had this big, huge dream of becoming a physician. And I remember when I shared that with people that, you know, everybody asks you, why did you escape from Iran? Why did you come to the United States? And I would say, I came here to become a doctor. And they would laugh at me and say, what are you talking about? Even Americans can't go to medical school. You barely speak English. So I came here with nothing, didn't know much English, didn't have any money, didn't know anything about the education system of the United States, but I had a big faith and I had all these prayers. And the most important of all was the gratitude prayer and the protection prayer. These two prayers, I can tell you with complete confidence that the reason for my success in this country was these two prayers. These two prayers have always held me and helped me to center myself and see the guidance, see the opportunities that God was showing me, even in the gravest of the situations.
And as we were visiting that prayer together, we noticed that there is a sentence in there that one of the well-known musicians and singers in this country, J.B. Echo, has picked that he maketh victorious whomsoever he pleaseth. We're going to be sharing that with his permission in this video. Yeah, so there are so many powerful metaphors and allegories in this prayer that we need to get into it.
Unfortunately, our time is not going to allow to get into every single piece of the prayer because it is so profound, and you can write books about deep meaning of this prayer, but we will touch a few points.
Okay, go ahead.
And this is a prayer of protection from the Bab. In the name of God, the Lord of overpowering majesty, the all-compelling. Hallowed be the Lord, in whose hand is the source of dominion. He created whatsoever he willeth by his word of command be, and it is. His had been the power of authority heretofore, and it shall remain his hereafter. He maketh victorious whomsoever he pleaseth through the potency of his behest. He is in truth the powerful, the almighty. Unto him pertaineth all glory and majesty in the kingdoms of revelation and creation, and whatever lieth between them. Verily, he is the potent, the all-glorious. From everlasting he had been the source of indomitable strength, and shall remain so unto everlasting. He is indeed the Lord of might and power. All the kingdoms of heaven and earth and whatever is between them are God's, and his power is supreme over all things. All the treasures of earth and heaven and everything between them are his, and his protection extended over all things. He is the creator of the heavens and the earth and whatever lieth between them, and he truly is a witness over all things. He is the Lord of reckoning for all that dwell in the heaven and on earth, and whatever lieth between them, and truly God is swift to reckon. He setteth the measure assigned to all who are in the heavens and the earth, and whatever is between them. Verily, he is the supreme protector. Verily, he is the supreme protector. He holdeth in his grasp the keys of heaven and earth, and of everything between them. At his own pleasure doth he bestow gifts through the power of his command. Indeed, his grace encompasseth all, and he is the all-knowing. Say, God sufficeth unto me, he is the one who holdeth in his grasp the kingdom of all things. Through the power of his host of heaven and earth, and whatever lieth between them, he protected whomsoever among his servants he willeth. God in truth keepeth watch over all things. Immeasurably exalted art thou, O Lord. Protect us from what lieth in front of us and behind us, above our head, on our right, on our left, below our feet, and every other side to which we're exposed. Verily, thy protection over all things is unfailing. The Bab.
Thy protection is verily unfailing.
Exactly. This last verse, verily thy protection over all things is unfailing, was my mantra always in my life. Every time I had severe anxiety and was not sure if I'm going to make it, not sure if I know where my next meal is going to come from, or whether I'm going to be able to accomplish the goals that I had with the very little, capabilities at the time that I had and circumstances that I had. This last verse was always my mantra and always protected me. And later on, when I became a physician and learned about integrative medicine, I learned about positive affirmation. I didn't even know that there's such a thing as positive affirmation. And this was basically my positive affirmation. This last verse that says, verily thy protection over all things is unfailing. I mean, how much more powerful is that? There is no ifs or buts about it. God basically says, thy protection over all things is unfailing. It's like, why are you even worried? You are under my umbrella. You are under my protection. Don't ever have any doubt that you're protected. Don't be afraid. And later on, when I learned more about the neuroscience, I realized that fear really comes from our reptilian brain, which is the part of the brain that is actually outdated. However, we still have it. But we have control over our brain. It's not like before that we didn't know where things come from. Now that the science teaches us what is what and gives us all kinds of tools of how to calm that part of the brain, how to shrink that part of the brain so that the executive part of the brain, which is the cerebral cortex, would be able to function. And this was one of the things that I taught my patients, because as you know, Anxiety is an epidemic in this country because of very stressful lives that we live. And I treated many patients with anxiety as a family physician because, as you know, mental health availability is very limited in the United States, especially the type of patients that I took care of. I took care of mostly Medicaid patients because I work in an academic center. Most of the psychologists and psychiatrists didn't take their insurance. So I became actually not only the primary care physician, I became their mental health person and learned so much about the basics of how to teach people to control their anxiety. And one of the things that I taught them, I showed them a picture of the brain, and I showed them that causes you be anxious is this part, and you have control over this part, and these are the things you can do to control it. And that really empowered my patients and changed the course of their mental health. And I have been using it myself because basically I was telling them what I have been using myself.
I have a question for you. How
Yes.
do you understand the people of Iran who have been witnessing the meekness, the peacefulness, love of the Baha'i community? These people have experienced their best physicians are Baha'is, their best scientists have been Baha'is, their best social justice people have been Baha'is, their best people that lifted Iran from darkness, literally, to this place that it is. And so many people in Iran, they know Baha'is as their family members, friends, colleagues. What is it? How is your understanding that they just absolutely have failed all these years to speak up for justice, to speak up for the light that is among them? What is your understanding?
I actually think that the regular people of Iran have been trying to speak up. I know several journalists recently a movie that made about the persecution of the Baha'is in Iran, and the director is a Persian and he is not a Baha'i. So I actually think there is a lot of very learned people of Iran that are speaking up about the Baha'is and how much the Baha'is are subjected to so much oppression. So there's many examples of that.
So you, as the person whose mother was snatched from her and his uncle, you're defending the people of Iran in their defense of their Baha'i brethren. And so you're saying that they have been able to see the light, they have been able to distinguish the right, they have been able to stand up for what is just. You're saying that.
You know, the thing is, when you see the light of spirituality, you can't deny it. I mean, how can you deny it when you see someone that, regardless of all of the difficulties, they're always positive. They always try to help their neighbors. They always try to comfort the sick. I mean, how could you deny that? You don't deny that. I know that people of Iran know the innocence of the Baha'is, but the circumstances in Iran are difficult. Not everybody can speak up, and I frankly surprised that as many people have been. One of my friends sent me a clip that one of the Persian journalists that is not a Baha'i, and he happened to be an expert in religion as well too, was doing a podcast about the innocence of Baha'is and about what a wonderful citizens they are.
I reminded myself of a story of the Bab at the early history of the faith in Shiraz when he was traveling on a ship to Mecca, because Bab came from the background of being related to the family of Muhammad. He was a Sayyid. There was this very nasty, angry mullah sheikh on the ship that started from the very get-go insulting him, and he would not say anything. He was just maintaining his meekness and not responding and reacting. So the captain became very angry and told the sheikh just to shut up, otherwise he's going to throw him off the board. And he wouldn't listen. So I'm making the story very short. Finally, the captain decided, this is enough of enough. The Bob is not even answering. Why is this guy so absolutely burning with anger and nastiness? So he called the crew and says, you throw this nasty person off board. And when they came and they wanted to throw him, the Bob went there and just grabbed this sheikh and said, if you're going to throw him off, then you're going to throw me with him. The captain says, of all the people, how are you defending this thing? He's insulting you the whole time. All the Bob said was he's ignorant. I think that is very powerful. He is ignorant. And ignorance is one of the worst diseases we can have. Ignorant. We can choose to be ignorant, by the way. So my conclusion was, for every meek and peaceful activist in the world that is working for the betterment of the world, we need to also have captains. So the role of the captain is absolutely important. So the two wings, defending those who are doing good, is very important for those who have power. So I'm hoping that this example of the Bob will teach all of us, when somebody is down, that we speak up for that person, which is so much injustice, and especially in Iran, where we have so much injustice for the women, for the youth, for those who want to be able to grow. So everybody is free to express their humanity more than anything else. Is there anything else that you want to say to close?
The only thing that I wanted to say, we are going to make this prayer available to everybody that is listening to this podcast. And I want everyone that listens to this to know that this prayer is for everybody in the world. It is not just for the Baha'is. This is a prayer from God to show us that we're not alone, to show us that He loves us and He protects us in mysterious ways that is absolute.
But you are witness to that is very empowering for a lot of people.
Yes, and find it comforting to you. Say it and share it with other people so that other people in the world know that regardless of how grave the situation of the world is, and nobody denies that, we do have a creator that loves us, and we do have a creator that protects us in mysterious ways. And this prayer can help us to connect with that source so that we would calm the anxiety of our heart and the anxiety of our minds and be more connected and be able to help make this world a better place for everybody.
My beloved young friend, the daughter of my beloved friend, now Dr. Maryam Mahmoodi, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this and be able to share this beautiful, beautiful prayer that is very, very dear to my heart.
Much love to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. He maketh victorious whomsoever He pleaseth. He maketh victorious whomsoever He pleases. Through the potency of His behest, through the potency of His behest, through the potency of His behest. the potency of his behest.